All right, let me talk to you about one of my favorite archetypes of all time. This is spells, or nearly spells only. We're running one copy of Screaming Nemesis in this red-white burn deck. And that's just because life gain is our mortal enemy with these kinds of decks, and this says, hey, you can't gain life anymore, and there's no way for you to interact with that. Is this good card design? Maybe not, but it is very powerful for our deck, so we're going to play a 1-of here. Important line here is you can play Screaming Nemesis and then shock, burst lightning, lightning strike it, and then target the opponent player even if they refuse to block this. So, really important to know about, really strong card. Can't really get away from it meaningfully. You can just drop it for another Case of the Crimson Pulse or something like that. But this is an answer to life gain. The rest of the deck is pretty much spells. Boltwave, Burst Lightning, Shock, Lightning Strike, Boros Charm, Lightning Helix, Slagstorm, and Virtue of Courage all have Go to the Face or creature abilities on them that deal X amount of damage. X being whatever their power is. A couple of other cards here, things like Wrenn's Resolve, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until end of next turn, you may play those cards. Really good draw engines for us. Case of the Crimson Pulse, when this enters, discard a card, draw 2, and if you are out of cards in your hand, you solve it, and then you draw 2 additional cards during your upkeep. You do discard your hand at the start of your upkeep too, though, so you will want to use as many spells as you can if you've solved this. Screaming Nemesis we talked about. Mechanized Warfare adds 1 damage to all your spells. Meaningful. We're going to miss this when it rotates out. Slagstorm can also go to player or creature, so this is also your board wipe, if you're wondering why Pyroclasm isn't in here. And then Virtue of Courage, we've got that shock for 2, which is not good, right? But at 5, we can drop this, and then every time we do non-combat damage to an opponent, we can exile that many cards off the top of our deck and play them this turn. This means that if you untap with Virtue of Courage down, you're often going to do 4 spells to the opponent's face, draw a good third of your deck, and more than likely win. Otherwise, we are just casting spells as quickly as possible, being very, very careful to determine what creatures need to die, because they're going to outvalue us going face, and which creatures are not important enough, and we just need to send another spell face. Lands are whatever you have. Fast lands are preferred. Carnival is a special uncommon, or special common here that says enters tapped unless a player has 13 or less life. 13 or less life is not hard for us at all. We can often get that turn 2, turn 3 with these spells. And so this is usually coming in untapped. Bluffs are where I would take out your common cards if you have more rare lands than I do, but the 1 damage is not meaningless, so it is a pretty good inclusion as well. Alright, that is the deck. Let's get into some games. Versus Rizna. Got the Bluffs, Mountain, Boltwave, Shock, Mechanized Warfare, and Slagstorm. This is an okay opening hand. Yeah. We'll go Bluffs turn 1. Find Boros Charm off the top. I don't know that we actually got through the hello there. Okay, opponent playing some Manifest Oculus. We don't have a ton of interaction with that, right? That's a 5/5. So we're going to have to actually kill our opponent, which is not necessarily impossible. I almost want to hold up all of our spells here. I think we do. I think we hold up all of our spells so that we can go Mechanized Warfare. I'm going to throw a cheeky shock at them and see if they have negate or something. They do have something. That's pretty annoying. Maybe we Wrenn's Resolve this turn, see if they'll counter that. And then do Mountain Boltwave. Like, what I don't want to see is my Mechanized Warfare get dropped. They reveal Picklock Prankster. Does this deck run removal? Maybe it doesn't run removal. I'd like to find land next turn, so that I can go Mechanized Warfare, Burst Lightning. Audi Jin comes down. That's actually not that big of a deal. If we Burst Lightning first, we can do it. So we Burst Lightning opponent in the face. They take 2. We play Carnival, we play Mechanized Warfare. The 1 damage Jin doesn't matter right now. And we have 4, 7, 13 damage in hand. And the ability to play all of it. So if opponent taps out here, we just win. Okay, Boros Charm number 1 coming in. The opponent goes down to 7. Boltwave. This deals 4 damage. They go down to 3. Burst Lightning for the final 3. GG. Really smooth time with our deck there. Opponent playing a good deck, but it was just too slow against us. And we go up to Diamond 1, 2 ticks from Mythic with Boros Burn. Ready. Against characters I don't know how to pronounce. Running the Elspeth Avatar. Okay. Opening hand is maybe not the best. Mountain. No white, but we do have Wrenn's Resolve, so I think we keep this. Slagstorm is also pretty good to stave off some red aggression. And without knowing when we'll get Mechanized Warfare, I'm generally fine using Boltwave turn 1. They play down Mountain. We'll play down Mountain number 2. And we'll probably Virtue of Courage, but we don't have to do it on our turn, so we'll wait for their turn to do it. Manifold Mouse, that's actually a really good target for Virtue, rather than going face. I usually encourage you to go face with spells, to the point that I may actually be wrong. Go ahead and just play down our our Bluffs and Wrenn's Resolve. We'll see what we find here. We find Mechanized Warfare. That's actually a really important card. They play down another Plains. We find the other Mechanized Warfare. That's pretty cool. We play there in the second one. Manifold Mouse. I actually feel pretty good. We've got Slagstorms held back if they get too many creatures. Sheltered by Ghost comes down. So are we just Slagstorming this first one? Bluffs. We could lay down the second Mechanized Warfare and see if they have another one. Portal comes down. Ethereal Armor comes down. That's actually a huge deal. And Feather of Flight comes down. Puts it to 6-5. Dang, we only have 4 damage. Should have killed it. It was BorosAuras. We probably should have known better. This is probably Monstrous Rage 2, and we're just dead. Crap. Yeah. Should have played the Slagstorm instead of being greedy for the Mechanized Warfare. Man, oh man, I should have known better. Okay. Michael Amsterdam. Bluffs, Mountain, Carnival, Boltwave, Resolve, Slagstorm, and Virtue of Courage. Not a bad opening hand. I think we go Bluffs turn 1. Mountain turn 2. Can we get them down to 13? Maybe, right? We go... Just go Virtue of Courage here, I think. They're down to 17. If we find a Boros Charm off the top, Carnival's free, then we could do 7 damage next turn, bring them down to good old 14. We don't, though, so we'll go ahead and Wrenn's Resolve instead here. Put up playing Orzhov, which could very well mean we need the Screaming Nemesis we just drew. We find Vantage. We find a Mountain. I think we play Vantage here into Boltwave. We've actually got plenty of time now to hit the Mountain next turn, do another thing, and then Carnival after they're down below 13. And I think it's probably Screaming Nemesis next turn. Opponent does nothing. It's a little concerning. If we Screaming Nemesis here and they have removal, we don't get to do anything about it. So I'm actually going to go ahead and Wrenn's Resolve instead. My concern is we drop Screaming Nemesis and they just immediately go for the throat or any other removal that kills it. And we don't get to do our thing. Instead, now I get to wait one more turn. We'll drop the Carnival next turn because they're below 13. They actually go ahead and play out Archangel Elspeth, which is a also good sign that we do want the Screaming Nemesis. Go ahead and play it now. We'll attack with it first, going for the Archangel, I think. They do decide to block. That's interesting. So now that's turned off. Do I actually need to worry about this now? I don't know that I do, I'm going to use our exiled Lightning Strike. Go face with it. Opponent goes down to 8. I think we're in a really strong spot. I'm tempted to do Virtue of Courage next time. We've got lethal if they let our Screaming Nemesis through, though. Okay, Noite of Affliction. So we no longer have lethal. The 1/1 tokens, though, aren't really a concern for me anymore because they can no longer gain life. So I think we just Virtue of Courage here. If opponent has enchantment hate, we feel a little bad, but like only a little bit. So Slagstorm now deals 4. Oh, the exercise. Wow. Okay. So you get a 3/3 beater. No life gain. We find Bluffs, deal 1 damage. We just go for the Virtue of Courage? I don't think so. I think we go Mechanized Warfare. Pass turn. Slagstorm is sorcery, so if I want to use it, I need to use it now. I don't think so. I think the goal here is Virtue of Courage face Slagstorm on the start of our turn. Win game. Nothing they do should really be able to prevent that. They can't gain life. They can't deal 20 damage to us. If they can take out Mechanized Warfare, we won't be able to finish them off. God dang. Okay. I guess I'd go ahead and go for Virtue of Courage now. Get in that 3 damage. They go down to 4. Boros Charm off the top wins. They can get in for 4. Screaming Nemesis prevents the life gain. It's the only reason we have any shot of winning this. 2, 5, 6, 7. So if we actually draw land, Wrenn's Resolve is huge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vantage will come in tapped. Boltwave deals 3. Slagstorm finishes them off. Make sure we pick the 2-player option. Give them the good game, and it's good game. Alright, a little bit rougher than I would have expected on that. But life gain is the antithesis of this deck, and we managed to pull out the win thanks to an early Nemesis. Crucially, we were also able to get that 1 damage in to get the icon. We were prepared to hit it ourselves. In fact, if they had just not blocked it and let us hit Archangel and then tried to exile it, that would have been better for them. Of course, again, we were ready for them, but still. GG. ELEAJ 7/7. Opening hand is Mountain Carnival. But we got a Wrenn's Resolve, we get the Burst Lightning with the Boros Charms, and we got the Case of the Crimson Pulse. I think it's a fairly easy keep. It's not my favorite opening hand. We could have a better rare land, for instance, instead of the Carnival. But I think it's fine. Opponent really mulls down. They go down to 4, draw to 5. We'll see what they're trying to rock here. Portal for blue. We can go ahead and play Mountain here. Once again, anything we want to do this turn, we can do on their turn. So we're just going to go ahead and pass. I'm probably going to go Boros Charm face, depending on what they do. They decide to Manifest Dread, hurt themselves too. I'll help them out, take them down to 14 here. I'm not too worried about bolting their Manifest Dread. They discarded Homo World's Eater. So I'm actually going to go ahead and play out that. Burn that down. Reveal that to be the Atraxa. Yeah. I'm not surprised there. Anytime that you're binning the Coma, there's a reasonably good chance that the other card is nuts. They're going to Manifest Dread again. And this time, the other card that they bin is a Rowing Dread, which isn't nearly as impressive. I'm going to Wrenn's Resolve here. Draw 2, hope to find land. We don't, but we do find Mechanized Warfare. I'm going to go ahead and shock down their creature. There's really no point to let them have it. It's actually a second Growing Dread, which is kind of funny. our turn. We get to just drop Mechanized Warfare here. No, we don't. They actually have the counter for it. Nope, it's another Growing Dread. Okay, they manifest again. Presumably they have Portal in hand. Or some way to flip it immediately, right? They find their third land. They get in for 2, so maybe they don't. If not, that's pretty terrifying for them. But they might have just said, hey, I'm not going to have haste if I don't. But it's actually just a Llanowar Elf. We find another Mechanized Warfare. We have all the damage we need before Mechanized Warfare, so we're going to go Burst Lightning first. They don't have anything, so we just win. We didn't even need the Mechanized Warfare, actually, because they kept hurting themselves with these Pain Lands. I'm not sure how much damage they did with the Pain Lands. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure these 2 lands cost them at least, like, 6 life. Maybe even 8. Which just makes our job so much easier. I do wonder if they had a way to flip that they didn't show us. I don't actually know if we had to end up killing the Atraxa Manifest there. I was really worried it was the Moth. If it had been the Moth and they had flipped the Moth, and you can't target it with spells, we don't run enough permanents to ever do that, even if somehow one of our permanents or one of our spells could kill it. Atraxa is turn 1, get a bunch of cards, but if it ever swings at us, we're dead, and there's not really any good way to remove it off the board, right? Like, we just don't run that kind of removal. All our removal is designed to go face, or in the worst case, kill a low-cost creature. Like, if Llanowar Elves had come down turn 1, I'm bolting that, right? Yeah, GG. Alright, opening hand, Abraded Bluffs, Mountain, Lightning Helix, Lightning Strike, Wrenn's Resolve, Case of the Crimson Pulse, and Slagstorm. Gets our friend Silly Name here again. Seen them once or twice. Yeah, this is keepable. We don't have all the answers we want here, but Case and Slagstorm in opening hand is a pretty good sign. I don't think this deck really has a whole lot of bad opening hands. Go ahead and Abraded Bluffs. Deal 1 damage to target opponent. Find the next Wrenn's Resolve off the top. Opponent is playing Boltwave. Are we a mirror matchup? Holy crap. Man, that can be really hard to win, though. So we're going to go Mountain. Do nothing, because I want to Lightning Helix them face this turn. But I want to see what they do. Hired Claw. That's not what I was expecting. That's probably worth killing at some point, but not right now. Lightning Helix to face. Not the opponent has disappointed me and is not playing a mirror. Might be a close mirror, though. Yeah, it's probably the Boros Burn with monsters in it, so they're probably playing Hired Claw, Slick Shot, maybe a few other things. We'll go ahead and Wrenn's Resolve here. I want to see if we can find a land off the top with it. And maybe something to do with a 1 mana. We do indeed find some interesting stuff. I think we go ahead and shock the Hired Claw here. Next turn we can Lightning Strike opponent in face and play that Carnival untapped. Hold up 2 extra mana. Probably for just a second Lightning Strike. But we'll cast the second Lightning Strike on their turn. Unless they play just a godly creature here that Lightning Strike kills. Like potentially Slick Shot. Lightning Strike us. Do nothing else. I think they have a shock there. Okay, we Lightning Strike opponent in face. Say no you. Play the Carnival. Hold up our own secondary Lightning Strike, just like we said. We could Wrenn's Resolve there and see what the next ones are, but again, if it's double land, it's just totally wasted. And holding up the interaction for their creatures could be important in some cases. I don't think we're seeing it here, but anything that runs red, you got to be a little worried about how fast they can get things out. Opponent does another Lightning Strike to our face. I think we Lightning Strike them. The imagery here is amazing. They've still got something else with their 2 mana. Maybe they've got a Lightning Helix. Alright, we Wrenn's Resolve here. We find Boltwave in case. I think we play Mountain, Boltwave them, pass turn. Lightning Strike to face is pretty good. They do 1 damage to us with bluffs. Not too big of a deal. We can get them down to 4 right now. And we could Slagstorm and something else next turn. Okay, they have Lightning Helix, so they're going to go back down to 10 when we go down to 9 here. Getting really, really close here. I don't actually think we really want the Slagstorm because we open ourselves up to the possibility of letting them kill us, or at least drawing the game. Inspiring Carnival, I think we pulse here. Bin the Slagstorm, is that right? Maybe not. Maybe we bin the case. The second case. I think that's probably correct. I wouldn't mind finding another Lightning Helix. That's not what we find. We find a Lightning Strike instead, which is not enough on its own to kill them. So I think we just end turn, hold up Lightning Strike. Did we find all 4 Lightning Strikes in this game? We did. That's fun. Screaming Nemesis is a real pain. They're going to get in for 3 here. We're going to Lightning Strike them back. That puts us down to 3, though, if they've got Lightning Strike in hand, which it kind of feels like they might. Okay, they're going to burst Lightning so that they get the ability trigger, which will put us down to 4. We can't gain life anymore. They're also down to 4. Feels like they might still have a shock in hand, too. We find Burst Lightning, and we can kick that. Which means we just barely win this. Ooh, that was close. That was close. And that is the rank up to Mythic with Boros Burn. Oh man, I could not have asked for better showing from one of my favorite decks. And in the semi-mirror matchup too. Like, this is pretty much Boros Burn. They're just playing the Hired Claw and the Screaming Nemesis, and presumably some slick shots in there as well. They lose a couple of our spells. They're probably not running the Slagstorms and maybe the Virtues. And then they pretty much run everything else plus a few creatures. Maybe the cases are also dropped. I don't think I've seen that in any of the deck lists. Yeah, so really fun deck. Let's go ahead and hop out of here.